A greater tragedy was averted, but it was a tragedy nonetheless. The country woke up today to somber news that 4 courageous airmen had passed away. The cause of the crash that took their lives is still uncertain.
We have gripping footage captured minutes after the incident. A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Rahna Farouk.
And I'm Shahin Jarampati. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
4 killed in Hokandara plane crash. Sole survivor being treated in the ICU. I am not prepared to sling mud at anyone, a statement from the president. JHU says that Udegam Mampila defected for personal reasons. Deputy Minister Faiza Mustafa says his community is important to him.
BBS එක ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක හිටියා නම් මගේ ජාතිය මට වැදගත් මම ආණ්ඩුවේ නැහැ.
Sri Lanka woke up this morning to the news that an Air Force plane crashed in the Atuguriya area just outside Colombo, killing at least 4 people.
The sole survivor of the crash, also a serviceman, is continuing to receive treatment at the intensive care unit of the National Hospital in Colombo. Now, I visited the scene of the crash once again this afternoon and filed this special report. The Antonov AN-32 of the Sri Lanka Air Force, which departed from Katunayaka earlier this morning, crashed in the Horahena area in Hokandara at around 6:20 this morning while it was en route to Ratmalana. An Antonov AN-32 aircraft from the number 2 squadron of the Sri Lanka Air Force, which was en route to Ratmalana, departed from Katunayaka at approximately 6:09 this morning. When reaching its destination, captain of the aircraft, squadron leader JMWN Abewardena, had requested permission from the control tower in Ratmalana to descend for landing. The request had been made at 2,000 feet in the air, almost 15 miles away from the Ratmalana airport. The Sri Lanka Air Force said that the final stage of communication from the pilot to the tower was related to low visibility on the flight path. However, the pilot had informed that he could see the ground below and descended to 1,500 feet. This was the last communication between the tower and the pilot. The original flight path of the aircraft was from Katunayaka to Ratmalana and then on to Trincomalee with a group of passengers. While a court of inquiry has been appointed to investigate the crash, the Sri Lanka Air Force says that poor visibility could be attributed for the reason for the crash. A court of inquiry has been appointed under Air Commodore Ravi Jayasinghe. At that moment, the weather was not an issue, however, visibility was an issue. The tragedy took place when the flight was being positioned from the home base or the operating base, which is Katunayaka, to reach the destination, Ratmalana.
මේ ෆෙරි කරන අවස්ථාවේ තමයි මේ සිදුවීම සිදු වුණේ.
Today morning also there has been mist over Bandaranaike International Airport and Ratmalana Airport. So then we can when it is raining in the evening, and then if the wind flow is very low, and that is we say that calm windy conditions, the conditions are favorable for mist formation. So then in the morning we have to expect mist also.
Newsfirst was the first media outlet to arrive at the location and report the incident to you as and when it happened. Now, several witnesses shared their ordeal with us, commending the pilot of the aircraft, his valiant efforts to avoid all the houses in the area and keeping these people out of harm's way.
Locals in the area managed to capture this footage moments after the crash. We heard a loud noise. Then we saw the flight making its way here in a ball of fire. We saw one body on the ground. Everyone brought water and assisted to rescue one serviceman. It ripped off the roof of the house. Then it exploded. We heard someone screaming for help. I have never heard such a loud noise. Then there was a ball of fire which rose over 30 feet into the air. The pilot had made a valiant effort not to crash into us. We would have been dead if he veered the plane another foot. 2 houses suffered heavy damages as a result of the crash. The Sri Lanka Air Force said that compensation will be provided according to assessments made to SLAF standards.
According to the Sri Lanka Air Force, 5 airmen were on board the Antonov AN-32 at the time of its crash. However, only one survived.
Captain of the aircraft, squadron leader JMW and Abe Wardana had tied the knot less than a month ago. The 30-year-old squadron leader was a resident from Pahalawalpala, Ibbagamua. Co-pilot Flight Lieutenant Danuka Tharanga Amaratunga was also killed in the accident. He was a 29-year-old father of 1 from Horana. Flight Sergeant Lalit Priyantha was another casualty of the accident. He was a 39-year-old father of 2 hailing from Ambalangoda. 30-year-old Corporal Amilanuan Vijayaratna from Pothanegama, Anuradhapura also perished in the crash. He hails from a family of 5 siblings, 3 of whom are also serving in the armed forces. He was a father of 1. The lives of these 4 servicemen ended 10 minutes after departure from Katunayaka, bound to Ratmalana and later Trincomalee, highlighting the uncertainty of life.
In the event of a plane crash, questions are bound to arise on the standards of the plane. Let's now take a look at some of the specs of the Antonov AN-32.
Thank you, Shahin. Now, this is an Antonov 32 AN-32 aircraft, the specific aircraft that we're talking about. It's a twin propeller aircraft that is very commonly used by militaries in the region, in the Asian region, and in Russia. It's manufactured actually in Russia. Now, this Antonov AN-32 aircraft that we are talking about had been procured by the Sri Lanka Air Force from Russia in 1996. The aircraft had completed a total of 11,981 flight hours and 45 minutes and was actually overhauled in Russia just this year. Since the overhaul, it had flown another 298 hours and 50 minutes. The price of this aircraft is estimated at about 4.25 million US dollars. The aircraft was valued at about 4.25 million US dollars. Now, the last time that an Antonov AN-32 met with an accident was on the 10th of June 2009, when one belonging to the Indian Air Force crashed, killing all 13 crew and passengers on board. The pilot of the AN-32, which crashed today, was squadron leader JMWN Abe Wardana. This is he. A very experienced pilot, one of the most experienced pilots in the SLAF, with having clocked over 2,239 flight hours. The Sri Lanka Air Force believes that squadron leader Abe Wardana had steered the aircraft to the Rabe state in a bid to save civilian lives and lessen the damage to civilian property. His valiant action had prevented a greater tragedy, and his action under pressure is to be commended and will not soon be forgotten. There was one survivor in the accident. Shahin Jarangpati has more.
Leading aircraftman GKN Chaturanga, the sole survivor of the crash, was hospitalized and continues to receive treatment at the Colombo National Hospital.
Injured Air Force member, lead aircraftman GKN Chaturanga, was rushed to the National Hospital for treatment. Director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinga, said that he was subject to a 3-hour-long surgery and continues to receive treatment at the ICU. While he may recover from his injuries, the trauma of being the sole survivor will possibly haunt him for the rest of his life.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that he will continue with the program that makes the country and the people victorious. He made this statement at a rally held in Akurasa today.
The meeting was held near the UPFA's main presidential campaign office in Akurasa. Members of the Mahasangha chanted Pirit and invoked blessings on the president. We ended the 30-year-long war and brought peace to the country. In the past, the Tigers attacked this area. They attacked the church and disabled Minister Mahinda Wijayasekara. We lived in fear and suspicion for 30 years because the Tiger terrorists spread throughout the island. We eradicated that and brought freedom to the country. And today, we have developed the country and have brought major changes to the country. I did not say it to you again. Through this change, we have brought hope for your children's future. We have established Mahindodaya laboratories and science education to create a generation of children who will be victorious at home and abroad. I remind you all that it is the duty and responsibility of every parent and every brother and sister to protect this country on behalf of these children. Meanwhile, the president also declared open the new Telijavila public fairgrounds this morning. A public rally was held at the Navaloka Stadium in Valisara yesterday under the auspices of Common Opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena. Let's take a look at some of the views expressed at this event.
All of us here and you think about our country. Can we allow all of the wealth and resources of this country, the state resources and state property, to be controlled by a single family in this way? Where are the benefits for the people from the money that is allocated for development? I must tell you, friends, parents and children, there are hundreds and thousands of memorials in this world. We have learnt lessons from all of them. I wish to clearly state to you that I stepped out of the government keeping my faith in you because I was prepared to die for the freedom of the people of a country, for democracy and the truth, rather than live in fear and grovel.
The government is in such a difficult position that they have taken a list of parliamentarians of our party who have worked tirelessly and sacrificed much for the party, and they have designed rogue websites to spread false rumours. Do not be deceived by this mudslinging. Do not fall in the face of these government contracts that are being implemented through abusive websites.
They are creating fairy tales, but we, the women who live with both feet on the ground, can feel the hardships. We can see the shortcomings we face when we go to the kitchen. What have these people done to address these shortcomings? Present-day politics is like a business because it bows to money. There are plenty of buyers for this too. There are many people who are sold on this. Those who are sold receive large sums of money too. I wish to say to the ruling party that if they had brains, they could have done something. You too will understand that if you had done service to the people with all the money that was collected, you wouldn't have to grovel before various people.
අපේ ජනතාවට සහනයක් ලබා දුන්න නම් ඔය එක එක්කිනා පස්සේ යන්න ඕනේ නැහැ.
විදේශ වලින් ගෙන්නන ඖෂධ ගෙන්නද්දී ජාවාරම් කාර්යයන්ට
A bill was introduced to reduce the cost of drugs brought from abroad by 75% as per the need of the people and not for the need of the racketeers. What happened? What did the ministers and MPs and the royal family do to put their hand in the money pockets of the corporates? They misplaced the bill. We wish to tell our people that on the 8th of January, after Maithripala Sirisena becomes president, the drug policy that was hidden and destroyed will be passed as an act of parliament, and we can promise the people that they will receive medication at 75% less.
Senior ministers are extremely frustrated today. You would have seen the veteran minister Janaka Bandara, a senior minister of this government, crying on stage because there are drug peddlers and casino racketeers in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. That is the situation in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party at present.
The UPFA convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
Common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena said that our president did not know he would become a candidate. I believe that for a respected individual who left, this was not an action that should have been taken. This government is aimed at creating a fast-track development for this country. We have created a stable government and recorded the lowest level of turmoil in our country. I don't think that there has been another government which has brought about stability in this country's economy, society and politics as we have done after we received independence.
සමාජ දේශපාලන ස්ථලෙත් මේ තරම් ස්ථාවර භාවයක් නිර්මාණය කරපු වෙනත් ආණ්ඩුවක් නිදහසේ පස්සේ තිබුණේ නැහැ.
BBS එක ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක හිටියානම් මගේ
If the government has ties with the BBS, I don't think I would be doing justice to my community. But I know that I could support anyone if I work according to my conscience. But if I know that the government is working directly or indirectly with the BBS, then I cannot continue in politics. Speaking to reporters today in Colombo, leader of the JHU, Venerable Omalpe Sobirathero, says that if Udaya Gammanpila had raised an objection to the pact reached with opposition common candidate Maithripala Sirisena, the JHU would not have signed the pact.
Gammanpila Mahatmaya ප්‍රතිපත්ති සකස් කරන්න ඉදිරිපත් වුණා.
Gammanpila came forward to prepare the policies. The process also took place under his advice. This resulted in the pact signed with common candidate Maithripala Sirisena. There were no objections during the signing. If he had at least voiced an objection, I as the leader would not have allowed this to proceed. The issue has come to light 10 days after. If this was an issue related to policy, it should have been made known at that time. He would have opened his mouth and said, I object. Now we face a problem. This is his personal problem. He is a young and talented politician. We had high aspirations for him. He had taken a lone decision. We are not disheartened by it. We would like to wish him a better future.
Journalists raised questions over Gammanpila's statement that the agreement reached by the common candidate with the JHU and with the common opposition contradict each other.
In 2005, Mahinda Rajapaksa reached an agreement with the JVP that the executive presidency will be completely abolished. He reached an agreement with the JHU that the arbitrary powers of the executive will be removed. It was in such a situation that we entered the race. So, at this point, it is not the politicians who will make the final call on the executive presidency. It is the legislature that will make that call. That is for the future.
The Eksat Lak Vanita Peramuna, the UNP-affiliated women's organization, has condemned the recent statement made by Minister S.B. Disanayake targeting former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. Members of the organization expressed the following views at a media briefing convened today.
The election battle has come to light now. It is a fight between Chandrika and Mahinda.
Chandrikawa pole gahala dala ready galhola Chandrikage heluwellen පාරෙක් පිස්සු හැදිලා දුවන්න පාර හදන්න හොඳ අවස්ථාවක්.
මේක අපි හෙලා දැකිය යුතු කරුණක්.
We see this as an incident that must be condemned. Everyone should know that such harassment is punishable under the Penal Code and is a criminal act. Thereby, we call on the President to immediately condemn the statements made by Minister S.V. Dissanayake regarding women in this country, and that he ensure that the minister resigns from his position.
We are not
speaking only because it is Chandrika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga. Prior to this, we have seen the insult that this minister levelled at a reputed sportswoman in this country. I asked whether First Lady Shriwanta Wickramasinghe approves of such statements. Does Minister Pavitra Devi Wanyarachi approve of such statements? Will this be cloaked under privileges?
Pavitra Devi Wanyarachi Mathiniya meva anumata karana.
A complaint was lodged with the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka today with regard to incidents of election law violations.
The complaint was lodged by a group including UNP Leadership Council Chairman Karuja Surya and presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa. We saw that the government's maiden campaign rally was broadcast on state media. We complained to the Human Rights Commission today that this was a totally biased action. There is a need to give equal consideration to all the candidates. While all 19 of them are presidential candidates, special consideration cannot be shown to one particular candidate. While we too accept that Mahinda Rajapaksa is the president of this country, all of them are equal in this contest.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka had this to say at a media briefing convened today.
State media is being used for the promotion of a certain candidate in a serious way. There is the possibility of taking legal action against the authorities at state media institutions who are violating the law. There are legal provisions for this purpose. Thereby, cases should be filed against them in keeping with these provisions. This is tantamount to the vicious use of state property. It is wrong. It is a criminal offence. It is a serious criminal offence as stated in the law. It is evident to us that authorities are acting in violation of clauses that are specific to the state property.
The National Bhikkhu Collective convened a media briefing in Kurunagala this morning where the following sentiments were expressed.
State media is being used as a campaign platform from morning to night. Yesterday they telecast a complete program in Anuradhapura on the radio for several hours every morning. Harsha Samarasinghe is scolding all the bhikkhus. 1,200 SLTB buses were taken to Anuradhapura yesterday. Every day about 500 to 600 buses come to Colombo. State power is being used to the maximum, disregarding any rules or regulations. Everything is going on and the elections commissioner has been left a helpless man.
Azad Sali, the leader of the National Unity Front, commented on this matter at a rally held in Adala, Chennai, Ampara. A meeting is being held in Anuradhapura. About 150 buses are brought there. There are 8 to 10 in each bus. This is how they bring people from all over Sri Lanka to Anuradhapura. But there are people who walk to participate in this rally. Even an 8-month-old infant knows who Mahinda Rajapaksa is. They have put up so many cutouts.
Meanwhile, journalists quizzed the subject minister today on allegations pertaining to the use of SLTP buses for a public rally held in Anuradhapura yesterday.
This is my stance. If someone pays for a bus, then I will give it. If someone affiliated with the TNA requests for a bus on payment terms, then I will provide a bus. Because I was given the buses on a lease. So if I get a good price, then I should give it, shouldn't I?
A fundamental rights petition was filed in the Supreme Court today against the disruption of the transmission of the Satana program that was aired on Sirasa TV at 7:30 p.m. on the 22nd of November. The petition was filed by attorney-at-law Manjasuriya Chandrasena, who is the president of Yatiyantota Udyapitiya.
His petition named as respondents Sri Lanka Telecom, the Electronic Communications Committee, Secretary to the Minister of Mass Media and Information Charita Herath, Minister of Mass Media and Information Keliya Rambukwella and the Attorney General. The petition reads that Attorney-at-Law Manjusuri was preparing to watch the popular political program Satana on the 22nd of November but found that he was unable to do so. After an unsuccessful attempt to watch it on the cable network POTV, Manjusuri contacted POTV to ask why he could not watch this program but failed to receive a satisfactory answer. He had then proceeded to contact the Sirsa TV channel, who stated that they had aired the program but that it was blocked by the POTV. He alleges that his fundamental rights have been violated as a result of this censorship and that this was done by POTV, which comes under the Minister of Mass Media and Information. Accordingly, Manjusuri requests that his petition be heard and that a concession fee of 10 million rupees be paid for the violation of fundamental rights, as the first, second, third and fourth respondents' name in the petition are responsible for the censorship of a program that he takes great pleasure in viewing. He requests an inquiry be conducted as soon as possible and for this matter to be taken up in court on the 13th and 14th of December.
Well, that was a petition filed by Attorney-at-Law J.A. Manjusri Chandrasena, who is a resident of Yatiyantuda, Udapitiya, against the disruption of transmission of the Satana program that was aired on Sirsa TV at 7:30 p.m. on the 22nd of November. Now, moving on to other local news, Amir Ali took oath today as a UPFA National List parliamentarian. He takes a seat left vacant following the resignation of AHM Azwar.
The results of the 14th Population and Housing Census conducted in 2012 were released today. The first census in 30 years to cover the entire island revealed the island's total population to be 20.4 million.
The result of the census placed the gender ratio at 94 males to every 100 females. Notable features of the census results are the decline in the number of children and the increase in the number of elderly persons.
This time frame is the one where we are seeing the largest labour force in the history of the country. This labour force must be managed effectively and used productively in economic activity in the future. In the future, there will be a situation where the working age population will reduce and the elderly population will increase. We must prepare to face this situation.
According to the 2012 census, 7,135 families units in the country continue to reside at locations not classified as homes. 18.6% of the total number of houses in the country have been constructed with temporary materials. The census also reveals that 22% of housing units do not have access to safe wells or pipe water for their drinking needs. While firewood is used for cooking at 78.4% of all housing units, the census also reveals that 18% of all housing units do not have toilets with water facilities.
Still in business news, latest data from the central bank indicates that Sri Lanka's trade deficit in October widened to $851.7 million from $352.3 million year on year, or more than double. The central bank states that exports fell 13.7% from a year earlier to $898.5 million, while imports rose 25.6% to $1.75 billion. The CBSL states that the largest contribution to the decline in exports in October 2014 was from textiles and garments, followed by transport equipment and rubber products, all of which are categorized under industrial exports. Major export destinations during January to October 2014 were USA, UK, Italy, India and Germany, accounting for about 50% of total exports.
Residents from the 23rd Estate in Nagahamulla, Kolonava arrived opposite the Colombo Municipal Council today. They resorted to this visit to point out the situation they have to face as a result of officials turning a blind eye to the garbage dump in Meetotamulla, which has caused a serious social issue.
These locals point out that the heavy rains have forced portions of the garbage dump in Meetotamulla to reach their houses located adjacent to the dump. We are not saying not to dispose garbage here. We ask them to provide us with alternative housing. We do not have the strength to speak. We haven't eaten a proper meal for over a week. They aren't accepting the letter, nor is she coming out. We are here to meet with the Commissioner and seek an answer. Our correspondent said that these persons have been compelled to seek shelter at a community hall as a result of this aggravating issue.
In sports, it's cricket news. Head coach Marwan Athapaththu says that 3 changes have been made to the Sri Lankan team that will face England in the penultimate game of the 7-match ODI series tomorrow.
Head coach Marwan Athapaththu says that Dinesh Chandima, Sikuge Prasanna and Dimuth Karunaratne have been called up for the squad for tomorrow's ODI. They will replace Kusa Janit Pereira, Ajantha Mendis and Lahiru Gamage. Athapaththu added that high expectations have been placed on spinners Sachitra Senanayake for tomorrow's game.
Sachitra has become a major step forward for us in our journey to the World Cup. Sachitra bowled well in the first game. If we are to win tomorrow's match, we need to play better as a team.
Sri Lanka are currently leading the 7-match series with 3 wins to 2. A victory tomorrow would seal a series win for the home team.
Well, that is a wrap of tonight's edition of News First Primetime News. I'm Shahin Rampati. Thank you very much for watching.
And I'm Rahna Farooq. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.